What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 22 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded King Louen campaign. So as we saw last time, Operation Peasant Storm was a resounding success as the Fey Enchantress and Rapunzel were able to take the Wizard Caliph's palace and are now, or have now completed the destruction of Arcan the Black. This means we're free to move against Skarbrand the Exiled and the Orcs in the Badlands, as well as the Orcs and Dogres occupying the Border Princes. I'd like to get at least one more proper army down here, as that's a lot of territory to cover, but we're well on the way. This time around, we'll be attacking Vlad von Karstein with Louwen's army and hoping to get a nice duel out of the two, and then seeing what we can do to proceed. Archaon is also very much nearby, and he is threatening Kislev. Kind of hard to say whether we should take over all of Sylvania first or move northward to try to get a duel against Archaon, as that would be nice. On the other hand, he's only level 14 at the current time, so maybe we should let him level up a little bit. Azazel's up here as well, and Festus. There's stuff to do, that's for certain. Anyway, we once again were able to reach the 200 likes and 30 comments threshold, so this episode will thus, as promised, be an hour long, and the same offer stands: 200 likes and 30 comments for an hour episode next time around. Anyway, let's do a little bit of admin first, perhaps, and then, well, you know what, let's move everybody around, and then we'll attack with Louen, and we'll do the buildings after the battle, let's say. Adelard, we'll start with you, my friend. We shall probably, or should probably, level you up a little bit. We still have lowborn militia. Well, actually, no, that's fine. We will continue having lowborn militia with you. Let's, in fact, get you the Blessing of the Lady and then Lionhearted to get you the bonus damage resistance, as well as the reduced cooldown on Stand Your Ground. Alrighty, that'll make you a little bit tougher. You, Florence Dubois, we should try to get you soft spot for small folk and enchanting beauty for the buffs to the peasants that are in this army. And, well, we only got 2 points more to spend on the magics, so we should be able to achieve that relatively quickly. Alright. Or at least start moving into it quickly. You, Killian, you do not actually have any points assigned, so Blade Master, Hard to Hit, and Deadly Blade to focus on that melee defense, and Foe Seeker, and then continue focusing on the melee defense. I like my paladins reasonably unkillable. Alright, you're gonna have to quickly auto-resolve this, I'm sure. I think Shipwreck is a battle, but not one worth fighting. Yeah, and, oh right, you still have the Scarecrow banner. Huh. Alright, we're gonna have to adjust items. Discipline on you, whatever. Yeah, a little bit of damage. And we will, I guess, ransom the captives. We need the money, and frankly, the kidnapper trade or whatever it is isn't significant enough to bother us. Alrighty. Warrior, Confident Defender. Gained by winning defensive battle. Oh! Huh. Islands count as defensive fights as the enemy attacks you. Oh, that's interesting. Anyway, you are going to go for the next island, but I think what we'll do is actually land you here and grab it by going through Longyi. This way we can heal to full and still grab this island, then move up north to the next one. Oh, you couldn't land? Oh. I thought he could. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. Well, screwed that one up, but what can you do? Anyway, Avril Mercier, you have recruited a bunch of units. Let us send... let me see if I can get this right. Baron Thegan, well, I guess you're going southward. We need 6 foot squires to Rapunzel de Lyonesse, and we need Blessed Field Trebuchets to both Rapunzel and the Fey Enchantress, like so. And, this is going to the Flyer Army, so we don't need that there. Baron Thegan, you will thus move southward. Probably this is the fastest way to transfer all these units. Alright. And then these 4 foot squires are for Alberic. If I decide to actually keep them in Alberic's army. The thing is, yes, we could use foot knights for this purpose. It just bothers me that he does buff the Peasant mobs, spearmen at arms. Oh, this is just for men at arms. Oh. Wait a second, I thought this actually included foot squires, but it doesn't. Huh. Well, maybe we should just use Knights of the Realm instead. He does buff foot squires with +8 melee attack and +12 weapon strength, but I think his +10 melee defense for Knights of the Realm still makes them better in foot knight form, making them kind of unnecessary. Yeah. Let me just replace you with another foot squire. Or another foot knight, you know what I mean. Alright, we'll just build another one then. We will then transfer these to another army. Perhaps our outlaw army. Maybe that's the way to do it. Seems like the way to go, and we'll be able to start that in 4 turns, I think, once we get this armory up and running to get them the little bit of extra armor, because, well, they're gonna need it. The rest of this... Oh. Alberic will still need Blessed Field Trebs. I do have to wonder how much they cost at global recruitment. 2k, you know what? Maybe we'll build them here instead. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. It's gonna take absolute ages to do, mind you, but we could have another lord just sit here somewhere and do it. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. Anyway, let's get back to whatever we were doing. And moving everybody in order, mind you. Rapunstillioness, you are going out here. Hopefully not into attrition territory, please. Alright, fine, right there. Merovec, you're gonna follow just for a couple turns, in the sense that we just need you to transfer some of these units, and... Oh, wait. You know what we could do? Just give them to Deline here. Yes. Like so, because Merovec isn't really needed. At least this Merovec isn't needed. Like so, and then you are going to follow. And then we're going to have a nice unit transfer between all of these. Fanchantress, you're heading up there as well, and I guess you're going this way just to reduce your likelihood of suffering attrition. Alright, well, we're out of order now, in the sense that we didn't move everybody in the order of this list, but... Well, it's too late. Yasmina and Marie, you are going to just sit here. We have met before. Maybe just slightly outside the summit. Oh, switch to channeling stance, please. And then you switch to it as well. I was thinking that we might get attacked. Ah, and we're losing mana everywhere. Damn you, mana in this campaign. And I still don't know whether it's just been awful luck. Alrighty, anyway, Alberic. Ow. Huh. He ran away. Oh, there's no defenders here now. Okay, fine. We're gonna do this slightly differently. Therese, we're gonna have you hit the Monument of Itzikal. And Alberic, we're going to have you reinforce. Wait, let's see if I can get this right. You stay there. I want Alberic to hunt the Hunts Marshal. You go to Crusade stance, please. Oh, just amusing myself. And yeah, we got a lot of knights in the... Oh, I'm gonna add some names here. Okay, I'll do it after. I'll do it when we get the Blessed Trebs in here, so that you can just name the rest of the army. Especially since they haven't been doing too much in the way of fighting. Auto-resolve this, please. This is obviously garbage. The 1 foot square unit got wrecked. Occupy. Like so. And by the looks of it, I think it's fairly likely that we're actually going to get into a fight with the Jade Court Cathans. Especially considering they own part of this territory, and you might as well bail out Mazdamundi. I was thinking about just allowing these two to continue fighting, but the thing is, Mazdamundi is now allied to Avalorn, and it looks like he's going to get allied with the elves shortly, and with Mother Estankia, so I'll let him be friendly, we'll destroy these guys, take this territory. And then be sandwiched between these lizards and these lizards. Laneshi giggle. Anyway, let's continue. Alberic, you can sit there and just hope to hit the Temple of Oh, actually, another idea. Go into ambush stance here. Maybe, just maybe, with 100% ambush, you'll be able to draw these guys into combat. And we shall, just in case, however, get you leveled up. Because the Hunts Marshal does have a nice pile of units, potentially. Yes, Champions of Bordelot, buff those Knights of the Realm further. Another plus 15 bonus versus large. That's pretty darn significant. And then, how much do your knights cost, by the way? 275, so we could start moving into lowly masses. I think we'll do that after Glorfiniel's progeny. Max out the buffs for the knights, and then move into the dukedom's bond, and then the reduction in cost. Let's also buff up your paladins who have their vows completed, yes. I guess the question for your paladins is, do we want the Blinding Majesty? It is a very nice contact effect, and I do like the fact that it makes them both very much stronger fighters. The vow is very nice as well, and it does give us the vigor loss reduction via share the feed, but it makes the paladins much weaker. And the answer is I'm not sure. I mean, we have the magical attack regardless, so we don't necessarily need Blinding Majesty to make them crazy fighters. I don't know, I'll think about it. I've been doing Blinding Majesty with pretty much every other paladin so far. So maybe we go for my vow doubled up in this one instead. It's actually probably more for share the feed, but considering this army is going to be pretty much all Knights of the Realm, it's a pretty decent choice, let's say. Anyway, and why do you have full plate armor? Oh! These points were assigned by the AI, weren't they? I was wondering what the heck was up with that. And we have them both maxed out in Tring. Ah, well, whatever. I'm not going to spend 1,000 gold just to undo this. And then you level up as well, just in case they come for us. We should have replenished troops maxed out. Let's also get another point in Shield of Thorns and Evasion, so that we can next get Regrowth. And possibly Dwellers Below, not that I expect... Well, actually, this is our one and only army that has all the mana in the world, so... yeah, that one's fine. Tech Thief, you're up. Go to Stormhenge, please. Just keep bouncing between these two territories. And making everybody who hates Scarbrand friend... Oh, for the love of... Ah, oh, damn these Tech Thieves. They're not doing it for me this particular campaign. But oh well, can't have them work in every campaign, I suppose. Anyway, with that, we've moved everybody, so it's time to hit up Vlad. We can level everybody up, but I think his army is weak enough so that we don't really need to. Attack him in your crusade stance, and away we go. Alrighty, close victory, you say? Well, that's what I like to hear. We'll start with an aerial duel against Isabella and her Terrorgeist and such. And then we'll see where we go to after that. The Errantry banner, which was previously on the Knights of the Azure Sky, will be swapped to... Damn, Henri, 168 charge. He has more charge than Louen, although his weapon strength is significantly lower. Let's give the Errantry banner to one of you for now. And then we'll see. It's not like Henri needs any more charge, let's face it. Yeah, alright, good enough. Here we go, of Vladdy Daddy, who's got pretty damn nice stats himself and has always been very tough to bring down. Should be a fun fight.
On to glory!
Alrighty, on to glory, and the glory in question will be Lulu versus Vladdy Daddy, though generally speaking I think it's difficult to... What the heck? Huh, well that's interesting. Vlad immediately has Forbidden Rod activated and then went way overboard and decided to pop both the Blood Chalice of Bathory and the Invocation of Nehek at the same time to heal what would essentially be a tiny amount of damage. Kind of interesting. And I'm pretty sure spell resistance and possibly ward save would also negate some of the damage from the Forbidden Rod. Huh. Well, that's his problem. Anyway, as I was saying, it's usually difficult to isolate Vlad because he's a small model and has a pile of units below him, but anyway. We're going to start the battle off by having our Air Force charge the enemy. Henri is going to face off against the Terrorgeist while the bats completely surround one of our paladins. Not to worry though, as we know our Pegasus Knights absolutely rip bats apart. Louen has joined the fray as well, though not directly to go after the Terrorgeist, Terrorgeist so much as to go after Isabella. Alright, there who does not have the access to the Blood Chalice of Bathory, so we're never gonna get a better time to take her out of the sky. Alright, and she's gonna pop the... okay, actually, we're gonna pop the Sword of Couronne. I thought for a second that they had activated something. Master of Beguilement. Damn, even with Master of Beguilement, Louen still has a melee attack of 40, and Charmed. That's a minus 60, quite a bit. Will it be enough though? I somehow doubt it. Now the other aerial units continue fighting as well, more Fellbats to knock out of the sky, though it looks like we've established air superiority. And by and large, a couple more Vargeists to knock out of the sky. It looks like one of our Pegasus Knights unfortunately did decide to land. I don't know why units have a tendency to do this, but flying units for some bizarre reason do like to land for some reason. Anyway, on the bright side, it looks like the enemy Terrorgeist is down. Emmanuel Posner, one of the vampires that the vampire counts, or the Sylvanian vampire counts, automatically always start with, is about done for as well, and it looks like Isabella fell from the sky in the same manner. Louen will then come down to start going after Vlad and another vampire, though it looks like Vlad will back off a teensy bit. Of course, that was just the beginning, and now that we are into the fray against the regular army, and the rest of our own army will join the fray as well. Time for the knights to do their thing. I'm going to charge into this unit of skeleton spears, which will not have braced since they were moving, and thus we'll be able to get right through them, and then the rest of our army will join the fray as well. A little bit of a dark map, but not too dark, as we can still see the knights fighting. And hey, the Lowen's Lions are going to face off a little bit against some Blood Knights here, though it's hard to see who's actually hitting who in all of these effects. Vlad is down to less than half HP, as Louen is still hitting him in there. Although it looks like he is getting distracted by the piles of enemy dead. Not that that'll make much of a difference as well, or either, as the enemies are now getting completely surrounded. Obviously, the actual enemy army here isn't all that strong. A Black Coach will be caught and ripped apart by our questing knights. And the main reason we wanted to actually fight this was Vlad himself, who is still lower than half HP, but still alive. On the sort of outskirts of the battle, we have our Pegasus Knights and additional units essentially hunting down any enemies that are isolated. And the remnants of the enemy's skeletons and graveguard and whatnot are also now pretty much, well, not isolated, but certainly blobbed up, and I see that Vlad is just about done as well. Well, a couple more hits, and he's gonna drop. Alright, Louen, you should be able to deliver the final blow unless this paladin steals it from you. Come on, Crypt Ghouls are in the way a little bit, and there we go. Down goes Vlad. Of course, with the Von Karstein ring, I'm sure he'd be back up before you know it. But at the very least, for now, he's down. Alright, and with Vlad having fallen, the rest of his army quickly begins to dissipate. Man, the effect from their melting away, the crumbling, is quite a bit, isn't it? Makes it a little bit difficult to say. I once again remember that there was a mod, or at least there used to be a mod, which sort of decreases the various effects. I don't remember if crumbling, etc. was one of those effects, though. But I do wish that certain things, like even like the Shield of Thorns, makes it more difficult to see the battle. So I do wish that we could toggle that one off. Anyway, with that, the battle comes to an end. I don't know, in fact, why. There we go. Close victory? Okay, well, the game certainly likes calling everything a close victory nowadays, it seems, because this was hardly close. Finally, a Lichbone pennant. I've been hoping to get one of these for it feels like forever now, and now this is a very nice pickup. In addition to that, we did defeat Vlad. Louen did 37k damage compared to the 20k on Henri and the 45k on those Louen's Lions. These guys have been doing a very nice job throughout the campaign. I'm very proud of them. Right in the various units of the Flyers are no slouches either. 16k on the Skyborn Chargers and 13 on Bretonnia's Glory and nearly 21 on the Riders of Rohan. Standouts for the Questing Knights were these two. The Enda's Knights and the Good Knights. So, well done to all of you. And yes, a Lichbone pennant. We're gonna occupy the place. I mean, I guess we could sack it or whatever, but it's not a big enough deal. There's that defeated Vlad hit point bonus, and similarly, we probably want to make sure that we defeat Throt the Unclean to get the bonus hit points from his defeat trait. Sadly, I think it was in Total Warhammer 1. I don't know if it's still the case, or... Before, when you... No, they're Tollkeeper. Okay, you don't need the Tollkeeper, though. Who's Cassian? Who the heck is Cassian? Tollkeeper should be on... Okay, I don't know who that is. We just gotta make sure we give it to one of these oppressors. You already have a Tollkeeper, and you already have a Tollkeeper. Well then. Alright, I'll try to remember that we should transfer Tollkeeper. Anyway, what I was saying was you used to be able to defeat Isabella and get a regeneration trait, which I guess was kind of obnoxious. I don't know if that is still possible. Does anybody give regeneration trait? Anyway, when we leveled up, we will continue assigning points, I believe. I mean, is it now time to get Headlong Valor? That melee defense minus 10 is very steep, isn't it? Chivalric Code will benefit nobody at the current time in this army, though of course that'll change later on, just looking at where we should assign our points. I mean, I guess we could get Deadly Onslaught. Oh, you know what? No, let's get Lionhearted for the rally and stuff cooldown. That is actually quite useful. Lady's Mantle, Virtue of Empathy, Crown of Bretonnia. Neither of these are crazy useful or anything along those lines. I think we'll get Deadly Blade and then into Deadly Onslaught. And yeah, it looks like we'll have no other way to acquire additional melee defense, so Headlong Valor will cost us. Still probably be worth it, but... I'm just wondering if there was any other way to acquire any melee defense, but I'm not sure at the current time. Anyway, looks good to me. I believe we moved everybody else, which means we're gonna do the buildings, and then we're going to end the turn. We do have a decent amount of money, and you know what? Let's see if we can't get any more money via Diplo. Non-aggression pact with Draika. Now, if we were to do this, the... How does Draika feel about Empire? Well, Empire likes them, but... Man, let me just see here. I wouldn't mind doing a non-aggression pact with Draika. It's just what concerns me is that she hates everybody around her. And might attack our allies. Then again, I guess we could just do the non-aggression pact with her without doing any of the other things. The possibility. Alright, let's do non-aggression. And I guess military accesses were likely to be passing through her territory for some time, and then we'll see. Even if... we'll see. Hopefully if she continues fighting the various enemies of everybody around the Empire, everybody will get friendlier. Karazkarek, I'd love to do a defensive alliance with you, but I think we'll still wait on that one. I mean, I was waiting to see whether you'd survive, and you are still alive, and therefore how much longer remains to be seen. I think we'll wait on it a little bit. Anyway, now we're gonna do buildings. Alright, Estalia, we'll start with you. More iron, more growth via the farms. and we'll stay in the current stance. Or commandment Zahutek, let's get that alchemy workshop. We should probably replace the royal stables here, but only after the Reichsmarschall is destroyed. Coaching in and growth, and we should get that Pegasus Eyrie, but it's not critical right now. What is... We could get capacity via Cathedral of the Lady. We could get Chapel of the Lady. Yeah, this would probably be a good place to have a bunch of Chapels of the Lady, because they will increase the amount of money we'd get from both of these territories by virtue of their proximity. Although it does feel like a waste at a main territory. And we also do want to be able to build some of these things as well. Well, let me just see. We need to have Royarch's chambers everywhere. So this takes up a slot regardless. And then if we want to build one of these, that'll take up both of the slots here, which means we'll have one slot remaining. And if we have only the one slot, we're probably better off building a Cathedral of the Lady then. If nothing else, because it's very difficult to acquire the Grail Guardian capacity, as Tier 5 Cathedral of the Lady is literally the only way we get capacity for them. Otherwise we'll have no ability to build them. Fine, Grail Shrine it is, rather than money, I guess. Alrighty, El Haik, we've been waiting to upgrade you, so your turn. Oh, 6k. That's it's on the expensive side, but oh well. Coast of Lyonesse, we are waiting on you because 12k is too steep right now. Bordeaux, I love the wine market, but I think we'll wait on that one as well because of the ludicrous expense. Lots of ludicrously expensive stuff, but oh well. Town for you, and definitely Cinnabar Mine, and most definitely the fields over in the Northern Grey Mountains. I'm trying to remember what I was doing at Carcassonne. I think it was just continuing the growth here. You will still need a tap room for both yourself and everybody around you. And then... I mean, I guess we're gonna have to go for another one of these Tower of the Enchantress, meaning we can't get a Grail Shrine here, because if we want to build a Sanctuary of the Errant... I mean, I guess we don't really need these everywhere. Not sure. At max level, it's a plus 1% melee attack per faction-wide, so if we get 10 of them, we'll only get a plus 10%. It won't make much of a difference. And the Cathedral of the Lady might actually be the better option. And honestly, maybe even the Chapel of the Lady too. Well, probably not in this place. Yeah, I guess it does border Bordeaux. I mean, I guess we could build it now and destroy it later if we need to. Yeah, fine, let's do that. Get another Grail Shrine up and running. Lots of Grail Shrines lately. Paravant, definitely go for that armory at tier 4, as that will allow us to build the Outlaws and whatever else we want to build here. And you know what? I guess it's time to build the Peaks of Paravant, even though we won't be able to afford the other stuff. Alright, Talantula, get that Lumberyard, Land of Assassins. Oh, we got lots of stuff to upgrade here. And 1, and a 2, and a 3 basic upgrades, and damn. Won't be able to upgrade the village now because of the... Alright, fine, we won't build the Peaks of Paravant yet. We'll build it shortly. Hopefully we can rack up a decent amount of cash. Alrighty, Land of Assassins is up to you. Lashik will start with you, mostly because you have the pottery upgrade. Talabek land we are not keeping, so actually we're free to collect the income, at least for the next turn, and then we'll build the water wheel and have a tiny bit of money remaining. What I wouldn't give for another materials at sea. But anyway, I believe with that we're good to go, and end turn, outpost available. Well, we can't afford it, so that's not going to happen, and turn now. And, where are you going, Scarbrand? Oh, it looks like he did win at Xandri, but he didn't occupy it. Well, there goes my plan. I was gonna steal Xandri back from Scarbrand and then transfer it to Khemri, but looks like that's not gonna happen. Oh, and it looks like Avalorn has landed in... Oh, the little tiny ambush. Yeah, fine, go for it. You can assign this to, I don't know, one of the paladins. Auto-resolve. Did that just kill a bunch more of these foot squires? Okay, go for, just in case, I think, execute captives, because we might be able to move further. Or we might need to move further in order to hunt the Hunts Marshal. Alright, Estalian Diestro +1 rank for crossbowmen. Eh? Oh, I take it that means the outlaws. Ooh, another... Huh, Squire. Won a battle against the human army. Damn, we got magic item drop chances. I didn't know we could get those. That's great. And another forbidden rod for Therese, but we're going to give that to a follower hero. Forbidden rods are always great to have. Now, where the heck is that damn Hunts Marshal? He ran away somewhere. Did he go out to sea? Huh. Strange. Strange indeed. He might have gone out to sea. Oh, there he is. Never mind. And does this place have defenses? No. Okay, so we're fine. Alright, we're definitely gonna fight this. I guess we can have the follower army come along as well. Hey, it'll just add more knights to the fray, so why not? It's not like we can attack Spectazuma with you by yourself as your army is too weak. Alright. Well, that's fantastic. Also, do we still have that, yeah, recruitment cost plus 25% for all units. We'll wait for that to die away, and then next turn we'll summon a new, or summon a couple of Blessed Field Shrubs down there. You, Avril Mercier, you will need to build up units.
Honor before glory.
Lord, land. Land anyway. And we're actually gaining Winds of Magic, go figure. Alrighty, so how are we looking up here? Rugenheim, we have Kemperbed, we should probably try to get to Keppelberg, but I'm willing to bet that the Empire can take it without our intervention. I see another army out here, though it looks like we're unable to reach it. A shame. Fortunately, though, there are no... We'll go outside of Needling. And then head to Fort Obersarn. Ah, there we go. There's one of the armies. Is this one of the elite army? Oh yeah, that's an elite army. That's much better than Vlad's army. 2 Mortis engines at that. That's what I like to see. We can't go ambush because we are in view of another army, eh? And if we move any further, we probably won't be able to assume it anyway. I'll try to go a little bit further. Nope. Okay, fine. Then just channel, stand right here, and hope that all these armies attack us together. They are in range, so this is going to be their time to actually challenge Louen. We'll keep the Pigeon Plucker Pendant, and considering there's a decent amount of aerial units, it may be worth our time to give Louen, rather than something relatively worthless like the Gleaming Pennant, give him the Scarecrow Banner, which usually also not particularly useful, but in this particular case, somewhat useful. War Banner is fine. I mean, we have enough paladins in this particular army to do enough magic damage, so we're okay. At least reasonably okay. Anyway, you have Blinding Majesty, and are now going through the rest of your tree. Let's get to you. Probably Deadly Blade. We could also start going through Retinue Trainer for everybody. I mean, it'll add up if we get it on a bunch of paladins, I suppose. I mean, it couldn't hurt. Armor-piercing damage when defending. Oh. Huh, that actually might be worth our time. It's for the entire army, after all. Yeah, fine. Fine, let's get a Steamed Combatant. And you only have the 1 point to assign to it, but that's fine. And then you probably have... Yeah, you're not even in Tough as Nails as yet. You do, however, have Deadly Onslaught, so we can get We Are the Elite. And even more completely necessary charge bonus for this army. But hey, it's appropriate. You can have Onslaught. I don't really use Awakening of the Wood much right now, but let's get another point in Regrowth. The rest of that looks good to me. And then lastly, you, Henri, you... I don't know if we could give the Pigeon Plucker Pendant to somebody other than you, but we don't have any additional items, or we don't have a lot of extra items, so I think we'll wait. I would like you to get my vow. ASAP, in fact. I would also like you to get hard to hit, but... Well, Banish the Damned is actually useful for now. And so Share the Feed. Yeah, fine. Let's go banish the damned. 3 points, 1 point and share the feed, and then we'll go my vow afterwards. Alright, Louen, stay right there. We'll hope we get attacked by a bunch of vampiric armies at once. And it will be glorious if we will. Move everybody else around, and then let's send Alberic to do his thing. Adelard, you're good for now. Rapunce. Where is Scarby? Still kind of sitting there. Okay, well, we'll see if he does anything. Anything interesting at any rate. Rapunce, do you actually... Well, you're not one of the ones that needs to swap units, so... That'll be the Fey Enchantress, which I guess we could do right now. You, Deline... Okay, well, let me see if I could do this right. You are going to take these peasant mobs and these guys, and I believe... Okay, take all this. And 2 of the knights. And I don't remember if we got the trebs, but I don't think we did. Alright. Then you guys have your names, but I've already renamed between the episodes these guys. So, okay, well, we're missing one. Madman of the Lady. Right, you guys all have names, and you will be transferred to the Fey Enchantress's army. I got this right. And if I didn't, well, that sucks. You guys need to return to your original names because we can't have doubling up on names because I will be confused even further than I normally am. Just do this real quick. And there we go. Names are back to normal. Then, Yasmina, you are going to transfer to the Fey Enchantress. I was about to say maybe we should give her the Defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis, but she's gonna get the Hermit Knights in hopefully soon. The legendary unit, I mean. Grail Knights right here, and that'll be 20 out of 20. Like so. And suddenly it's a much, much more powerful army than it was before. Yasmina, you can head back here. Just make sure that you're standing near to another army or two. Or Rapunce. You have your knights, and the rest of your army will be filled with peasants and trebuchets and whatnot. I mean, I guess we could replace some of these, but for now I think it's fine. I need to figure out... Okay, well... There's too many units now, or too many armies now. And I need to transfer stuff. Alright, so we'll try to swap between some of these. Rapunce, you can move here. I doubt that Scarbrand will go for you, even if you're by yourself. But who knows? He might be willing. There is... I mean, it's gonna be tough to bring down Scarby and the other big boy. Well, you guys just stay away. And then you... Don't tell me they can't transfer to each other right now? Okay, yeah, they're gonna have to wait. Alright, that's fine. No big deal. Just have to deal with that admin anyway. And the rest of you stay there. Maybe we can just keep Yasmina nearby. Wait. We can transfer your units now. Like so. Beautiful. Makes it a little bit easier. You have Melancholic, but I think we're going to keep you nonetheless. It's just that we don't have any additional Magnanimous Prophetesses, and I'm disinclined to just search for them. 10% is not a big enough deal for me to be that concerned. And these two armies will probably eventually form up one army, but for now I'm just going to keep them as they are. Alrighty. That sounds like it's time for Alberic to fight now, as everybody else has moved to the... Oh, I missed Baron Thegan. If I missed one, I might have missed another.
Very well, I go.
Travel southward. Adelard, you move this turn. Avril, you do not need to move. Now, an island appeared. Well, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to loop back around Adelard. And I think we're good now. Even if I was wrong about being good previously. Yeah, we're okay, alright. Time for Alberic to attack. I'm not going to bother leveling up to res. Let's go for the Temple of Kara. We've got a decent amount of enemy units, primarily infantry, however, and they're going to have a tough time against all of these knights. Away we go. Alrighty, battle calls, and hopefully we get a proper, let's say, debut battle for Alberic, as this is going to be an actual fight, even if the Hunts Marshal's forces are on the, let's say, weaker side. Mostly not due to their numbers, but simply by the fact that it's just crossbows and swords and spears and guns and whatnot, as in nothing crazy, whether it be artillery or demi-grips or anything like that. Anyway, we're going to start the battle off by having a little bit of an artillery exchange as the trebuchets move in and start to focus down the enemy mortars. Of course, the enemy mortars don't have the range that the... Okay, I lied. We're going to start off on the enemy infantry units before switching to the mortars in a bit. Well, I guess what I was saying still stands true, however, as the enemy mortars can't hit us back, so we're free to attack their infantry until the mortars move close enough for us to hit. And it'll be a little bit of a while of bombardment here. Of course, the AI does like to dodge the artillery fire. How do you guys feel about the AI's ability to dodge artillery fire? It always seemed like an odd thing to add. I know that this is part of the difficulty setting. I think it's, I don't know, hard and above or very hard and above, that allows the AI to do this sort of thing. But it always kind of takes me out of the immersion for some reason. Especially as obviously a player wouldn't be dodging most of the artillery shots like this. Generally speaking. Not that it makes any kind of difference, mind you, and it's not like the AI is perfect at it either. But I guess there's too much of the use of artillery otherwise, and it makes battles too easy, which is why this is introduced, at least against armies that are very artillery heavy. Alright, well, regardless, it looks like the enemy anthill has been kicked. They're thoroughly annoyed and are going to start moving towards us. We don't need to move the rest of our army as yet, but we can continue our bombardment against the enemy artillery. Of course, the mortars are not themselves yet in range, and hopefully we'll be able to dish out heavy enough damage to them before they get too many shots off. Alright, there we go. Looks like the crew are at least blobbed up. Unfortunately, the mortars are far too slow to actually dodge. Not that they are going to try. And funnily enough, I think that the regular trebuchets in this particular exchange would be more effective than the blessed trebuchets due to that difference in armor piercing versus regular damage, but higher regular damage on the regular trebs. Nice hit, nice hit. Alright, some of the mortars are getting down to half HP. Of course, they're not as fragile as the mortars of the Vampire Coast, so it's going to take a little bit more work. Alberic is moving around together with his two paladins, and we're going to send them out to kill the Hunts Marshal. And here comes Alberic. This is a terrible matchup once again. I'm not a big fan of Marcus as a hero, or as a lord rather. Both for his, I don't know, general fightiness, which is relatively lackluster even in range combat. And generally I wasn't a big fan of Marcus being chosen as the lord added for Empire. I guess they just wanted to add another lord that wasn't, that wouldn't be generally starting in Empire territories. But at the same time, I feel like you could have sent somebody else to Lustria or whatever, wherever it is that you wanted. On the other hand, Marcus is a different enough lord from the other lords that I can see it. It's just his implementation leaves something to be desired. Anyway, regardless, a rant aside, it's time for the Knights of the Realm to do their work. Same kind of strategy as Louen's army. Of course, the Knights of the Realm aren't going to be as effective as the questing knights and whatever other elite knights Louen gets, but they'll certainly be effective enough to deal with this. Plus, obviously, Alberic's army is a little bit different in that it will have some infantry and the artillery to rely on, not merely just knights all over the place. Though the punting is still very similar, as all those units go flying out, and it looks like the Hunts Marshal has already fallen quite quickly, I might add, and so have his mortars, and it looks like the battle will actually be ours relatively shortly. About half of our knights have moved into the main sort of line. We can see that the units that are very badly damaged and or shattered are in the center of the enemy's line, but we also have flanking forces about to hit those other units that have not yet been attacked, which will probably give the battle to us shortly after. Alright, nice debut with regards to punting at the very least, but it's not looking like it's going to be a particularly difficult fight. And there's the flanking forces coming in, and all those range units will fire no more as the handguns and crossbows alike get engaged by knights. I would have liked to see some knights facing off against each other, some knightly combat against the Imperials, although I guess we've gotten some more decent amount of knights versus the Black Knights and Blood Knights for the vampire counts. And I'm sure we'll see some Chosen and various other Chaos Knights. Some various Chaos Knights before the end as well. Alrighty, and it looks like we've chased most of the enemy down, and in fact the enemy army will shatter, and just like that, the battle will be ours. And not a particularly long battle. I think we took longer just to annoy the enemy with our various field trebs, and then we did to actually destroy the enemy army. Gonna do a little bit of chasing, but not all that much, because it is a settlement battle, so it's just the unit that was outside the settlement, and that needed to be destroyed. Well done, Alberic. Alrighty, man, that just kind of felt mean. It just felt mean. Marcus Wolfhart is unfortunately one of the weaker lords in general, and that just felt like bullying. Generally, the ranged lords seem to be a little bit weak or over-nerfed or whatever. At least I've never gotten them to work particularly well at really much of anything, so oh well. Range plus 10% and missile strength percent. This is an insane buff, but completely useless on Alberic. It almost makes me want to keep Marcus around just to try to get this buff again on an all-ranged army, or mostly ranged army. What we might do is take Spectazuma and then peace out with him, leaving him only the Sacred Pools until another army can be built, just to utilize that extremely strong buff. I mean, that would make sense to me. Also, before I forget, we got, okay, one turn until Be the Best is up, so we'll wait until that is indeed up. And yeah, I strongly feel that there's something wrong with the Hunts Marshal's AI, as in, this faction never seems to kick off, and it always seems to build just garbage and doesn't really seem to diversify. It just seems to constantly build basic troops. In every single game I've played, every single campaign, I don't remember the Hunts Marshal's faction ever doing well and building stuff, which has always been odd. I wonder why. But anyway, that's his problem for now. Let's get back to our own problems, which is, as usual, economy. Oh, it looks like Estalia has overtaken the marches of Couronne as the most money-making territory, and that's so far without the windmills, so it's gonna get much better than that. Couronne itself is ready for that tier 5 upgrade. Ooh. On the one hand, very expensive. On the other hand, our legendary unit, the Hermit Knights, would be available. Man, the Grail Abbey doesn't increase Grail Knight capacity. That's shocking. It'd be nice if it did. Grail Guardians are just difficult to acquire, I guess. But anyway. Couronne. Alright, we'll see if we can afford it. I'm willing to wait a couple of turns to buff up our economy slightly in various other locations before spending all that money on a single upgrade, which won't do anything for our economy. Keep building the farmlands everywhere, because they directly give us money. Ignore the military stuff that we already have. Get the public order, and Well, the Grail Chapels don't give us direct economy. The additional damsel capacity is always nice to have. Paravent will wait on that Eerie. Wizard Caliph's Palace, yes to the growth building, however. Talabek land will be ignored and traded. Massif Orcal. You should be getting a combination of capacity things and adjacency things. We should probably... Okay, this doesn't actually give us any capacities. Why do you even have a royal barracks? I don't remember why I built this here. I think I meant to build the stables for capacities and ended up doing the wrong thing. Well, oh well. Not a big deal. What we will want to build here is, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces remaining. 1, 2 to the Royarch's chambers in the sanctuary, meaning we have 2 free spaces, meaning we could do... I guess we could still do the water wheel for adjacent... Yeah, you know what, just build the Chapel of the Lady. It's an easier adjacency bonus. Anyway, Pirates Current, you have the defenses, but that's definitely not a priority, as I doubt that anybody, short of a very elite full stack, is going to be of any kind of threat to it. We'll... You know what? Now I think we can build the area. We are going to get the flying army up very soon, so it's time. Oh, we'll need it. Well, need is a strong word, but we'll want it. Alright, we have the irrigation ditches, and I think we're going to go for that, but then afterwards we may want to spend a little bit of the valor to get a few of these things. And man, still got to get that research rate up. Alright, and I believe that is that. Yes? Double check the Diplo. And then end the turn. Still no additional trade agreements. Jade Court is not happy with us. Oh, but they are doing well at ripping Mazda Mundi apart. Nonetheless, I think I'm still committed to Team Mazda Mundi. And you know what? It's very rare that, yeah, you get to fight Cathians as Bretonnia or as Empire, and I'd kind of like to see that in sort of an Imperial faction against an Imperial faction. With that, we're going to end the turn. We level you up. What's the likelihood that Scarbrand attacks you? I'm going to say low, even though we do have piles of peasants, but nonetheless, just in case, let's get your points. I don't quite trust it. A response, you're going to have a rally. And the paladin here. My vow, finally, good. Alright, that should make it a little bit easier, hopefully, to deal with Scarbrand. I believe your vows are not finished. Oh. Ogre Kingdoms, Beastmen, Greenskins, or Dark Elves. I'm gonna say pledge to no, wait, you know what? Pledge to campaign won't work now either. When a battle at sea is possible. But yeah, we will probably have no more desert battles, because it'll all be Badlands battles. Alright, I'm gonna say pledge to protect. I'm just gonna hope that this works out. Ogre Kingdoms discounts, so if we can hunt down Wurzag or hunt down Scrag, either one will be sufficient. Anyway, you can continue your point application while you have my vow. Banish the Damned doesn't really help here. Ladies' Mantle is fine. I think we're gonna go for Deadly Blade. Alright, and then lastly, Camille, our mage. You don't have Arcane Conduit. Comet of Cassandra is not gonna be all that useful to us here. Let's just get magical reserves for now. Oh! Oh yeah, you do have Aura of the Lady. For a second I thought I had missed that. Alright, now we can end the turn.
Such relentless heat.
And continue hoping I didn't forget anything. Alright, trait gain devoted for Shadowheart, which does what? Chivalry +2 per turn? Well, we're maxed out on Chivalry, so that hardly matters at this point. Let's see what Scarbrand does and where he goes. Carl wants us to join war against Festus for quite a bit of cash, actually. I mean, sure, Festus isn't going to come for us, and this is a decent enough amount of cash to make this worth our time. We'll probably have to send somebody to deal with Festus, and aha, this is what we wanted. A massive battle with 3 full stacks. Man, can I do this battle justice with the time we have remaining in this episode? I don't know, but we're gonna find out. You can have the Scarecrow banner. Away we go. So much armor piercing, so many graveguards, so many elites. Finally a challenge. Alrighty, here we go. This is probably going to be the most challenging battle that Louen's army has faced, as that is a lot, and I mean a lot, of elites that he's going to have to contend with. On top of that, this is, I think, this entire episode, so we had 3 battles, all with all knightly armies. Louen, then Alberic, and then Louen again. So our 2 armies that are made up of pretty much knights. It's a knightly kind of day. Anyway, we're gonna start off. Okay, I can't see anything. We're gonna start off by doing a sort of lightning strike attack on the enemies that I can see some Vargeist dropping out of the sky. A lightning strike attack on the enemies that are already on the field, which means hitting them hard and fast in just the way we like it, and hoping to dish out a decent amount of damage before the reinforcements arrive. This means we are hitting the enemy in the forests, wherein our large knights are debuffed, and due to the forest debuffs for large units. But hopefully that won't matter. And then, of course, once the enemy reinforcements make it onto the field, we'll back off. Really hard to tell what the heck is going on in there, but at the very least we've cornered the enemy Terrorgeist and should be able to rip him apart. The other enemy Terrorgeist is just about down. I think it's this one, there we go. That'll drop out of the sky, and at least establishing air superiority will be relatively easy in this one, but I think air superiority will probably be relatively easy in any fight. Alright, looks like the enemy Strigoi Lord is down, as well as Louen and his lions have managed to corner him and defeat him, regardless of the fact that he was in the middle of his forces. Over on this flank, however, it looks like one of our units of the questing knights, the Knights of the Algorithm, have taken quite a bit of damage, losing more than half of their HP, though their model count is not too bad, and due to a combination of enemy hex rates, and I just saw the hex rates bring down another one of the questing knights, the hex rates and the Great Sword Graveguard, plus that Vargulf, in which we see giving chase. Anyway, with that, we are going to back it up and try to get into the middle of the field here, wherein we will have a bit more of an advantage against the enemy infantry count. Over on this side, Louen and his paladins, minus Henri, who is keeping with the rest of the force, are trying to go after the 2 enemy Mortis engines and this enemy Necromancer that have spawned onto the field. And even though these things are taking a bit of damage, it looks like they are healing each other quite a bit as well, so it's going to be a tough time bringing them down. We may actually want to return to the fray before taking them all, as we're going to be needed here to deal with the single entities. The Vargulfs, 2 of them in fact, and the Hex Wraiths have made their way forward. The Cairn Wraiths are approaching as well because of their Strider ability, as the Ghosts don't care about terrain. And we're going to hope that Henri can take down the Corpse Cart, that's not a Corpse Cart, the Black Coach and the Vargulfs as well, with the help of Louen's Lions and the rest of these Knights. Ideally, what we want to do is take out all of these elites before the slow-moving Graveguard and other infantry make their way here. Although as to whether we'll succeed at that remains to be seen as well. We're also trying to heal up those of our units that got heavily damaged, keeping back the ones that are in the worst shape right now, and just repeatedly casting Earthblood on them, while the rest of our melee units, well, fight in melee. Alrighty, how close are the enemies? And man, there's 40 units on the field and still more enemies that have to arrive. We're also using our 2 units of spawned Knights of the Realm, not Knights of the Realm, Defenders of the Realm, I keep calling them Knights of the Realm, to hold off some of the enemy Graveguard and Skeletons that have arrived from the 3rd, I believe, reinforcing army. And these guys are just here to serve as a distraction, and we will honor their heroic sacrifice by hopefully defeating this army. Alright, how are we doing against the elites here? Well, it's not just the elites now, even though it looks like the Vargolfs have been brought down. There are still ghosts and crypt horrors that remain, and they have been joined by tons and tons of Graveguard. Rather than getting bogged down by all of this armor-piercing damage from all of these great swords, and good job to the AI for having so many great swords rather than going all sword and board, because this is much more frightening to our knights than a pile of sword and borders would have been. Ooh, nice attack from Henri here. And it looks like Louen has joined the fray as well, or come back. We have left a few of our other paladins here just to continue distracting the Mortis engines, but it looks like without Louen there, they're probably not going to be able to destroy them, especially with some Graveguard around. Alright, so they're going to try to get out and join the rest of the battle. The balance of power is still in the enemy's favor. That's always odd to see, and more enemy reinforcements continue making their way onto the field. More Black Knights as well as lots of fast movers by the looks of it. Plenty of Knights, some Vargeists, and a bunch of Direwolves are going to join the fray, and it looks like the Defenders of the Realm are no longer holding. We did, however, have the ability to once again summon the Green Knight, who has joined the fray, and is going to try to go after this Necromancer while he's relatively isolated. Alright, let's check back. Gonna back away our main force of knights again and hopefully heal them up, while Louen and Henri are the last on the field. And they're gonna back up as well. You gotta love that mass on those hippogriffs and just running through the piles of Graveguard. Of course, we weren't afraid that Louen would get killed, just wanted to make sure that he's backed away a bit. And then everybody's more or less grouped together so that we can keep dropping heals on them. Alright, here comes yet another charge. This is, I think, the third one of the battle. Right into those piles of Graveguard with the Lewin's lines. And man, it looks like they made their way through the entire pile. And then allowed the questing knights to close in right after them. Alright, beautiful job. Let's hope that we can dish out enough damage to all these Graveguard before even more of them arrive on the field, and we still have to remember that the additional Vargeists and those Mortis engines are still to be dealt with. Master Necromancer is still alive and has called for aid, but of course everything here is going to have a tough time in dealing with the Green Knight, so hopefully he can pull it off. In the air, the fight continues as well, but once again the Pegasus Knights are superior at taking out the Vargeists, who in fact would rather land and fight the regular Knights than be surrounded by Pegasus Knights in the sky. Well done. And it looks like our blob of knights is still relatively able to maintain cohesion and have taken out a major pile of enemies and are going to back away again. Gotta keep cycle charging, but more in a blob this time than we would usually do. And just to keep everybody healing, it's not like the enemy has casters, as it looks like the last Necromancer that we'd be most afraid of is going to get ripped apart. Alright, come on, Green Knight, one more hit. Oh, and there we go. Alright, with that, the last of the enemy lords will die, and of course they still, as in the enemies, still have plenty of units, but we don't care about blobbing up ours, because we can't get hit by a Wind of Death or anything. Alright. And very nice, and we're going to try to keep our regular knights away from those Mortis engines while hopefully bringing them down. Don't want the Mortis engine effects hitting our massive blob of units, as the enemy would obviously have an advantage if they did. We see one of the Mortis engines has reached its healing cap due to the fact that that was the one being attacked by our paladins before. And while Louen and the paladins distract the Mortis engines, they're also unable to heal the rest of the enemy army. Separating both the enemy Necromancers and Corpse Carts and Mortis engines from the rest of the undead host is pretty ideal. I'm going to do a little bit of cycle charging again as the Pegasus Knights hit the enemy in the flanks, while the rest of the Knights reposition a little bit to countercharge an enemy unit of Black Knights. And we'll be able to rip them apart without too much trouble either. And there we go. Very nice, very nice. So move out of the way again and get ready to charge again as well. Though it looks like we won't need to do too much more of that as the enemy army begins to crumble away. Mortis engines still here and still unable to contribute where they would count the most. This first Mortis engine will explode, and though the last one is at half or full HP, it won't matter as the rest of these skeletons in graveyard begin to crumble. Fantastic. There we go, another charge. It looks like the crumbling is happening to different armies at different times, but that's normal as well. Gotta be careful about taking unnecessary damage by blobbing up around that Mortis engine as well, the second one. But with the Green Knight there, and it doesn't matter, everybody is melting quickly now as the third and final army melts away, just like the first two did. And let's hope we can get to see the Mortis engine explode like we saw the first one. There it is. Very, very nice. Alright, well done Louen's army, and our HP is once again okay. We took quite a bit of damage at first, but it looks like we were able to overcome it. Just gonna back off a little bit, allow the enemy to melt away, and that gave us a few more seconds of healing. Heroic victory, and very much so. Gotta give bonus points to the summoned units, the Defenders of the Realm, because they really helped out by distracting the third enemy army, essentially an entire full stack by themselves, and that allowed our knights to destroy the first and a large portion of the second army without the third joining. So, MVPs to them, even if we can't see what their kill count was. Ooh, alrighty. Very nice battle. Certainly worthy of Louen and his army, and the end game in general. I also see the level ups were plentiful from the battle as well. Obviously a decent amount of those enemies will survive due to the dead rise, but it looks like we'll be okay. It did look a little bit dicey there during the mid-battle as we got pretty badly beat up on quite a few knights, but fortunately our Damsel of Life was able to continuously heal our units once we retreated and get them back into reasonably good state, so we're not heavily damaged. We're gonna go for ransom captives, as 4.2k is not something I think we should dismiss, and I believe that will end the turn. Ah, what a great fight. Harrieth, you want a military alliance? That's going to be a no. And Dada, you want the same? Yeah, definitely not with the little wood elf factions. I just don't trust them. Alrighty, and there we go. Devoted for Shadowheart and a Sword of Bloodshed. Now that's a very nice pickup. Might be worth putting it on the on Henri, a confederation between the World Walkers and the Scaling. Oh, that's an interesting one. On the one hand, it means we're no longer at war with the Scaling rather, but it does mean that the World Walkers will likely declare war on us, so sooner rather than later. We'll be fighting them, but we were going to send an errantry army up there anyway, so that's just fine. Anyway, obviously with that we're very much out of time, and I'm going to call the episode here. Next time we continue fighting the dead with Louen, who's now nice and healed up, and we should start making our way through Sylvania proper in that time, while we also try to hunt down Scarbrand with Rapunzel and co, and the rest of these armies moving into the Badlands in general. And oh, I was gonna say the Border Princes, but it looks like Arguelon has begun to make its way there. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. I guess it depends on whether they fight the ogres or not. Anyway, more Louen to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave a like and comment, and remember the thresholds if you're into it. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.